I have to say, I've only seen 2 episodes, but I'm totally hooked on this show. It is so cute.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. That's the first review we've gotten. So,
I was going to ask you what the feedback was like on the show. What do people like best about it?
well, friends and family, they, of course, it might be a little bit biased, but they love it. And kids are the most honest critics because if they don't like it, I don't like that. Yeah, they all love it, and all the kids that we've shown and relatives and cousins and things like that. Yeah, I think it's going to be a hit. I certainly hope so.
Now, for someone who hasn't seen the show yet, how would you describe it to them?
It is basically, I'm best known as the voice of Goofy, gosh, for 33 years. And the idea is that since I've been voicing dogs for 30 years, I know about them. I don't know about real life working dogs. So we're exploring the world of working dogs and the amazing jobs that they do with their amazing sense of smell and hearing and all the other physical characteristics and the things that dogs can do that we can't and how they help us.
Now, you're not just the host, you're also the executive producer, or one of them. What kind of responsibilities come with that? Do you get to go out and scout for new dogs to be on the show?
I'm certainly in all the meetings, and we were in the meetings to hire all of our employees that go out, and camera people and researchers and all the other people that go into putting a show like this together. And so, yes, my wife Jennifer and I and Steve Duvall are the executive producers, and we kind of oversee this thing. And as host, I definitely want it's unlike doing say Goofy's voice, where I go in, I do the lines, and I go home, and that's generally my input. On this, yes, I'm in from start to finish, coming up with the idea for the show, getting it sold, producing it, getting all the contracts and all of that kind of stuff going, finding the people that we want to interview, and actually shooting and post production in the entire series.
Now, I have to ask, do you have a dog of your own?
I have two dogs. Yes, I have a dog. I don't know. She was in here a little bit ago. A girl named Boo, and she is a black lab pit bull mix, a rescue dog, and another little dog, a Westie mix, named Roxy. We call her our terrierist. And as a matter of fact, Boo is right here. I can show a little bit. If you can, Boo, can you say hi to Boo?
Oh,
Yep, there's Boo.
adorable. A senior dog, huh?
Yep, yeah, she's 12 and Roxy's 13.
Wow. Which of the dogs on the show have you been most impressed by? Because they do such a wide range of jobs. Like, who knew they could do so much?
Well, I was just blown away by the opening episode with the, first of all, the border collies and the dog that finds whale poop. That was probably one of the most interesting stories that we did. Because it's just not something that you think. Border collies, how they can herd sheep. They've been doing that for thousands of years. But helping researchers study killer whales by finding their poop, it's kind of a new story that I hadn't certainly heard about.
Now, I haven't seen the surfing episode, but I did see a little bit of it in the trailer. What can you tell me about that? Like, what was the craziest thing about that?
There were a couple of things that come to mind. First of all, there were about 1,200 corgis on the beach that day. All the corgi owners in Los Angeles came down to Huntington Beach to show their corgis and just kind of have a fun day of it. So they're kind of corgi fanatics. The interesting part was, of course, Jojo, the surfing corgi, trying to surf, which they stuck me in the ocean to see if I could surf, not too good at it. And something that no one knows, that day they had an influx of these stingrays, and 176 people got stung that day by stingrays. So they were telling me, okay, when you're walking on the bottom, kind of kick your feet so that if you don't want to step on them or they'll sting you, but if you kick them, they'll skitter away. And I kicked about 4 or 5 of them, and so that's where my mind was most of it. I was trying to stay on the surfboard, not just to stay up and surf, but to stay away from the stingrays.
I knew there were going to be a lot of really good background stories to the filming of these episodes. Also, I was really impressed by the guide dog who took his his blind runner across a marathon finish line. I haven't seen that episode yet either, but I would love to hear about it. What was most impressive about that dog?
Well, the fact that these dogs are so well trained, they can guide someone who's running at full speed to avoid obstacles. They gave me the chance to kind of see what it was like by blindfolding me and having me go with the guide dog. It's really freaky and a little scary at first, but very soon you get a sense that, yeah, the dog's kind of leading. It is keeping you in out of harm's way. And they would have a little obstacle course, even things that were too high, like a bar that the dog could go under safely, but I would hit. The dog knew that, and he stopped, and I could feel that in my hand, and he would go left or right, whatever he decided. I would turn that with my eyes closed and blindfold on. And very quickly, you get to trust the dog. You really do. And you know, yeah, he's got all his visual faculties and everything. And it's a big game to them. They just love. That's probably the most important thing that I learned is dogs love helping people. They want to please. And whether it's for a treat or for just a hug, a pat on the, or a play toy, whatever their reward is, they're happy to do these jobs and they love doing it.
Now, speaking of that, did any of the dogs, were any of them naughty or did anything surprising during filming?
The interesting thing that comes to mind is our performing dogs that we did, the Peronis, dogs in Northern California. They put on shows around the U.S. They've been on like the television, and they do the flips and all of the amazing agility things that dogs can do. But at home, they have 13 dogs, which are just regular pets for them in their house. And when they're not on stage, they are regular old dogs jumping on the furniture, and you got to say, yeah, get off the furniture, get off the couch. And they're just regular dogs. They are not any different than the dogs that we have, other than that they've been trained for a specific purpose, and they love to do that particular thing.
Was there any one dog that you were most impressed by?
Oh my gosh. It's like, which child do you like best? There were so many. One of the ones that I was impressed with the ability of some of the dogs to smell disease in beehives. That is something that I've never thought about. The probably the most impressive fact I learned was on a pet detective show. And these people have dogs that find lost pets, everything from horses, goats, other dogs mostly, cats, even turtles. These dogs, if you let them smell something that the animal had, like a blanket or something like that, that's all it needs. And it can follow this dog and find whatever it is. And they had a bloodhound that they said could follow an animal up to 3 weeks later through a park. Let's say your dog goes through a park. This bloodhound could find that scent among all the other dogs that were in the park in the intermediate time. He can lock in on that particular scent. Some estimates say they can sense as little as a single molecule of a scent. It's just what they can smell is just amazing.
And I wanted to ask you, how did you get started with Disney? Because you do the voices of Pluto and Goofy, and I think a whole range of other voices as well. But how did you get into that? Like, there must be a lot of competition.
There's a lot of competition. In Los Angeles alone, there's probably between 100,000 and 200,000 people that are up for things, that are actors. And on any given week, I guess I've heard about 10,000 jobs. So that means about 140,000 out of work actors on any given week. It's very competitive. I was kind of lucky in that I came out to California in 1986 as a stand-up comic out of Texas. And I just came out on the advice of an agent and said, well, you ought to go to Hollywood, see what you can do out there. About 4 months later, my agent said, do you do any of the Disney characters? And, most people can kind of do a Mickey Mouse if you can do that falsetto. Gosh, oh boy. But that's about all I can say. I can't do Donald Duck. cowboy. That's about all I can say with that. But gosh, Goofy was right in the wheelhouse. And he was my favorite Disney character growing up. And out of about 1,000 people that tried out, they liked mine. And now it's been 33 years, so I guess I'm doing an okay job.
Now you do people as well. What's your favorite non-animal voice that you've done?
Oh my gosh. I've done most of the presidents over the years. Everything from Jimmy Carter to Bill Clinton. He's very excited. And of course, Donald Trump. So a lot of different, I was one of those weird kids that could just do voices. And when I was growing up and got old enough to drive, we'd drive through places like McDonald's or Burger King and order in a weird voice. I'd like a Whopper with cheese, and then they'd look out and that's cool, man. So it started off as just kind of a gag around the town and turned into a career.
Now, how many episodes have you filmed and how many will there be in total?
There are 10 episodes, and each episode has 2 stories in it, plus a segment called Pluto's Pointers, where we teach people at home how to acclimate a new dog. What do you do when you bring it home from adopting a pet? How do you make it feel at home? How do you take care of dogs? Another segment called Goofy's Hometown Heroes, where we feature a dog that we've heard about that may have done something amazing. Like there's a dog that was someone's best man at their wedding. There was another one that got lost in the woods for over a month and he made his way back home. Little kind of stories on particular dogs that have done something amazing.
Were you all wrapped with all the episodes before quarantine hit?
Yes. And yes, one of the last shows we did was at LAX, at the airport, called the Beagle Brigade. They can smell contraband, basically. If you bring in an apple from another country, that might be infected with some kind of a fungus or whatever. These dogs can smell that. And we were in the international terminal, and and this was in January, and they had the CDC there because they were starting to hear about this virus happening in China. And there were some of the Chinese flights that were coming in, and they were kind of checking them out. So it was just the beginning, and that was one of the last shows that we did. Yes, we just got in under the wire. We were very fortunate.
Are there any plans for a second season?
We would love a second season. I think Disney's going to see how people enjoy it, and if it's a big hit, there probably will. I'm certainly hoping so.
I hope so too. It's a really fun show to watch. And just one last question. What are you doing to stay sane during the quarantine?
Walking my dogs at night. I go on a good hour walk with Boo and Roxy, and that keeps me sane. They help keep me sane. And, just walking around the neighborhood, I'll go on bike rides, and you just got to get out and do something. But at night, it's nice. You're alone, and it's been okay. And also, I'm able to work from here at home doing my other cartoon shows that I'm involved in.
Oh, that's right. I was going to ask you about that because so many actors are out of work because they can't get together to do a production. But when you do voice work, you can do it from home.
Yes, absolutely. As long as you have the right equipment, the high enough quality that is broadcast quality, which I do. And my son's an audio engineer. So I have my own engineer here at my own home studio, and it's working out great.
Which productions are you working on right now?
Well, right now we have Mickey and the Roadster Racers, and which has been now it's some other ones I can't even talk about, but there's an episode of Amphibia, which is I play a frog named Hop Pop in that, and we did one yesterday here at the studio. So that, and I did a Christmas movie for Disney, and yeah, they keep me busy. I've got a couple of cartoons this afternoon on a show that I can't even talk about yet.
Sounds amazing. Thank you so much for talking to me today, and I hope there are going to be many more episodes of this show.
I hope so too, and thank you so much. And stay safe, will you?
You too. Take care.
All right. Thank you.